DC here. Hi guys and gals. Well, it's Sunday morning, and yes, I'm around in the park. There are a few people already sledding, but not that many. There'll be a lot more this afternoon. I just come back from the early church service, and I've just taken off my headgear here, but I was listening to Transworld Radio on the internet radio, something called tune-in radio. Now, I was reading this week that Norway will be soon removing, or I was going to say, all FM radio broadcasts will cease to exist, and they'll have digital, which they call over here DAB. So they'll have digital, which means that all cars, all radio sets, whatever, will need to have DAB radios, or if you're at home, like I say, change your radio set. When I was a kid, we didn't have FM radio at first. We had a battery-operated AM radio, and we mostly listened to CJD, especially in the morning. I think the morning man was called George Balkan, I think. And especially in winter time like now, we would really listen to the radio early in the morning in case there would be if there was a snowstorm especially, and they'd say school's such and such, go to school. What great days. Kids never knew that over here. Now, I'm getting to that because that was George Balkan, and CJD was in Montreal. We were in Sutton. That must be something like, it's about 100 miles, I guess, something like that. Maybe a bit less, it doesn't matter. Anyway, my aunt, who lived in the countryside at one time, got an FM radio. It was a little small thing, but I remember how we would go over to her place. Just think about it for a moment, how we'd marvel at small things. We'd go over to her place and listen to the FM radio. And FM radio, I think it was the CFCF chain in Canada, had a lot of music. Maybe it was called CFQR or something like that. I don't remember now. And it had this fantastic music. It was so clear. And think about this. This was not stereo or anything. This was just a small radio, but it was FM. And wow. Then my dad went off once for a business trip. No, my dad was not a businessman, but he went to Manchester, is it New Hampshire, I guess? And with a neighbor, because they were working in a textile plant, and they were going to check out from another textile plant over there to bring a machine, some type, I don't remember what type of machine. And they were going to have to move it over, so they were doing the work, how they're going to move it over and checking out the logistics, whatever. Anyway, and they came back, both our neighbor and my dad, with a battery electric operated AM FM radio. That radio might still be in my parents' basement or in their garage. We were overjoyed. FM radio. Now, I know this might sound so weird to some of you, but don't forget, we are talking about in the 60s, 1960s, not the 1860s. I'm not that old. But it really was something. There's some people coming over. That was really, really something. FM radio kind of changed our lives. Then later on in my life, I discovered shortwave radio. So I had a little shortwave radio, and I would listen to things from countries abroad. Really hard to believe, actually, wasn't it? Shortwave radio. And that was really kind of weird, actually, with shortwave radio, because you never knew if you're going to get it 2 days in a row well or not. So when we moved, so when we moved actually to Europe, I would listen to Trans World Radio, which is a Christian radio station, and I would record the shows. It was really, really good. And I had a whole set of recorders set up with timers. You should have seen it. It took half of a table. I was very popular in the house at that time. But that was shortwave. And so I had this radio with AM, FM, and shortwave. Of course, by then, I mean, we had cassettes and so on. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. We did follow the times. But now, I mean, in today's digital age with the internet, I can get all of those stations, well, on the internet. I have an internet radio at home, or you can just simply turn them on your computer. But if you're in the car these days, you have the DAB, which is the digital, which kind of follows, I mean, no matter where you are in the country, here you will get that station. I mean, it works completely differently, and it's much more stable and nice than the FM, especially if you're going around the mountains and stuff like that. I do know in Canada there's a similar thing, because our rental car on our last trip had some type of digital radio which we used. Yeah, so FM in Norway is on the way out, and they're talking about it. I've been hearing a lot about it in Switzerland. It's being delayed, but I think it's just a question of time that FM will be gone here as well. Kind of weird in a way, because, you know, I mean, like I was saying, you know, all the cars and everything will have to change, but it really is a change, isn't it? Now, I've read, though, nevertheless, I don't know about Canada, but I have read in the United States that is not a theme, so don't worry about it. I guess, you know, the total expenses are ridiculous when you get down to think about it. I mean, ridiculous in the bad sense of the word. So it doesn't seem it's going to happen. So digital killed the FM star. Hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, for those of you, especially those of you who are a little bit older, who have probably, like I say, I think I may have said it or not, FM came in mid-50s or something like that. But many of us only got it in the 60s. So for many people, even some of you listening to this, they probably never knew anything else but FM. But yeah, it's on its way out. So this vlog is on its way out. DC signing off for my Sunday morning. Yeah, call it a no dog vlog, whatever. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.